One of the other differences, though, that I think applies here is that you can be the best mortgage company, but you also be the fifth best mortgage company and feel terrific about your year. You can't be the fifth best team in professional sports. And like, unless you're like a young group and it's like, hey, we're heading in the right direction. So I don't want to say it's one winner and 29 losers, but if you want to be really harsh about it,
yeah,
you could define the sport that way. You could define the NFL, baseball, hockey the exact same way, WNBA. Is that something that you think newer owners that have been so successful with struggle with, not realizing that the wins and the winner circle is far smaller?
Yeah. It's very binary. You won or you lost last night.
Right.
Right. And, in mortgage is like, I had a pretty good day and they had a good day too. Both companies had good days. That's not how it works in basketball. And so, yeah, it's definitely different, but that's the game. That's what it is. And that's what makes it even more exhilarating and more of a climb and hopefully more fun when you're at the top. But at the same time, realize that it's tough. It's not like there's 29 other NBA owners that are just like guys just out, like we're competing against 29 extremely successful, smart guys and gals that want to be winners and want to compete. And, it's hard to beat them. And then players are the same way and coaches. It's a very competitive league. And yeah, it's definitely different than the mortgage business or any other business, if that's the way you think about it.
There's probably a similarity here. When you first take over ownership, do 29 other teams call you asking for your players, hoping they can screw you up because you don't know what you're doing?
I don't know. I'm sure that they probably try. Like, everyone's competitive. Everyone wants to beat you in any way you can. And so I'm sure people are competitive and want to win. And there's new owners every couple of years. And so it happens. But the new owner syndrome stuff that people like to talk about, I think that's more of a mind game, and especially that messed me up at the beginning, trying to not do it. And now I'm gonna call it the newish owner syndrome. I'm gonna be doing everything the way I believe is best, and I'll live with the results.
Yeah, I've talked about it. I remember talking to a group that was looking at changing a minority stake to the majority stake of a team, and I was talking with them, and this is years ago, and I was like, look, I'll go through it. And I went through like everyone's stewardship, like the first 12 to 18 months. And it was like, you can almost find the worst transaction of their entire ownership run that happens within it, because I think it's human nature. It's like, man, I finally own one of these teams. Like whatever it cost, it's real. And now I get to do these things for real that I've always thought about in a hypothetical way. That human nature would be that you probably can't help yourself, because it's like buying a house, buying your first home and then going like, I'm going to buy all these stupid end tables just because, like you're sitting there looking at catalogs.
Right, yeah.
Like I remember I bought a fire pit in my first condo I bought, and it didn't make any sense whatsoever because I was sharing a backyard with 20 other condos. It's not the same as bringing in a max level player, but I think there is something to be said of, now that I actually get to do this and I own it, it's got to be a really tough urge to resist.
Absolutely. It's definitely, and that's some discipline that some of us have struggled with. And you can point to me as one of them, if you want to say that. But in general, I look at it as like, yeah, it's really hard to get an NBA team. It's not just have enough money. You have to get voted on. You have to go through this process. There aren't that many teams that come for sale. You can't just go buy a team. And so when you get one and you love basketball and you want to deliver for your city, you sometimes maybe make a decision. And so once again, I tried to I did less than I should have, and sometimes more than I should have. And so now I feel better about where I'm at. And, I'm almost at 3 years, and I feel like I'm starting to hit my stride.
How do you fit in with the other owners? Because I'm sure there are cliques like anything, but I mean, do you think that you're well liked?
I think so. I'm the youngest owner by a wide margin. But I get along with, probably someone to argue who am I closest with. One of them is I'm closest with one of the oldest owners, Herb Simon. He's the best. He's been someone, Indiana's owner, I talked to before I bought a team. But then there's so many other guys that I've built great relationships with. Some guys that you look up to as a kid, Alex Rodriguez, who owns Minnesota now. You're like, I still find it fun to have lunch with that guy because he's a winner, and just someone I always watch playing baseball. But then there's other guys like Joe Lake has done really well. And then there's, guys that I've built relationships with that are newer owners, Rick Schnall from Charlotte. And you kind of find your guys, but there has not been one owner that has not been, and you've probably documented that Mat Ishbia and Dan Gilbert don't like each other from Cleveland. But you know what? Dan Gilbert is nothing but a gentleman when I see him, and vice versa with him. And when I go to his games, he helps me out. And he comes to it's a really great ownership group. And so give credit to all 29 of them. There's some winners in there. Everyone's a winner in there that's doing the right things and cares about one. You call any of them and talk business or even talk basketball, they'll give advice to each other. I've really been enjoying it. So I think I'm well liked, but I'm also young and I talk fast and I get after it and I give my opinion. So maybe some don't like it.
Yeah, I think the age thing's always going to work against you because you are, like, look, it's the ownership thing is usually like this moment at the end of your professional run of like, well, now I don't have to worry about cash the way I had to when I was younger. And it's like, I finally get to buy this item and it can feel like a family thing. And there's, ageism is certainly a thing, but I think with stature, with certain accomplishments, you could be considered like, hey, he's too young to be able to do some of this stuff. And look, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever felt that way, but it would make sense even if it were misguided.
Well, I think being younger and new, people will think he must not know what he's talking about. But there's other young, like Ryan Smith's a really young owner of Utah. He has some great ideas. I think that sometimes young or fresh ideas is helpful. And it doesn't mean just age. It's just like newer thoughts. But yeah, I'm sure some people don't love everything I say or believe, but Adam Silver's a great commissioner. And you know what you do? He always says, make sure you give your voice, get your voice out there and believe what you believe and say what you think. And he's really great with bringing everyone together. And so I feel like it's been great. That's been one of the best parts of being an NBA owner is being part of that community, that group. They've all been wonderful to me so far.